and welcome to the show. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to have my co-host, Andy Hall. He's going to join me this morning here in just a minute. We're going to talk about the craziness, the abject, absurd craziness that went on yesterday, start to finish. We saw some stuff, interesting stuff that we'll talk about that happened just before the craziness started. Andy and I saw it. We're going to visitate about that too, right after this.
Did Donald Trump sell the Resolute Desk? On Thanksgiving, Typhoid Trump spoke to the press for the first time in 3 weeks since the election, and he did so from a cartoonishly small desk in the diplomatic room of the White House. To add to the pathetic scene, a few feet away sat an undecorated Christmas tree, which seems to fittingly suit his presidency. A dictator at the child's table, and he failed to complete the one job in the room. And if you look at the pictures, it looks like he's signing stuff, but he doesn't even have a pen or a Sharpie or a crayon. But why did he take questions from such a small desk? Did he steal and sell the Resolute Desk in a desperate attempt to get more coin over to Deutsche Bank for his puppet master Putin? Just kidding. We all know he wouldn't really do such a thing, just like he wouldn't really call for the arrest of his political opponents or openly try to subvert our democracy. That's just crazy talk. Maybe someone should check on the Resolute Desk.
Hello and good morning. Howdy, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you had a good day yesterday. It was certainly an interesting day. Andy, how was your day yesterday? Was it interesting?
Well, I was online quite a bit in front of this camera. And actually, after we were done streaming in the early afternoon, I went on to Facebook Live on my personal account and just talked about the craziness that was going on in the Capitol. Yeah, We're going to talk about the 4 people dead. The four people dead. From
not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4 people dead.
4 people dead from the insanity of yesterday. I was just watching PBS News, I believe, had the best coverage in real time of what was going on. And there was a reporter, a young woman who had her cell phone and was able to talk to PBS Central. And basically she was at times crouching and hiding. There were other times she was walking in, through the corridors in the basement because they were ushering her into the panic room for reporters or what's up, Phil Lister. And it was just and basically I didn't do any work for the rest of the day except for streaming. I streamed again yesterday at 8 o'clock with Jack McTurkle and Daniel Bennett. And we went over a news clip from PBS NewsHour, basically just covering everything. And it was just nuts. I woke up this morning, found out that 4 people are dead from yesterday. Of course, that woman was shot, apparently in the chest, by police or by law enforcement, Capitol Police. How's it going, Brain Bug and everyone else? So it's just been nutty. Well, Joe Biden is officially certified. The electoral votes are in.
Yep.
Certified at something like 3 o'clock in the morning or 3:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing verbal. I'm just doing verbal kind of download right now of everything that I know. Right. It's crazy. I went on Fox News actually for 5 seconds today. No, it was more like 5 minutes this morning because I want to work on my aneurysm here. I just want to work on the vein. And so I went on Fox News and they were discussing about how Republicans are going to fight the squads, how to fight progressive policies in the House and the Senate. I will say this about the people on Fox News. They look like the sorriest, the saddest who's in Whoville this morning, I have to tell you. They look like the saddest who's in Whoville.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory about that, and that would be just briefly to say that there was an attempted coup by the right yesterday, the far right, and had it worked, they would be different. They're sad. I'm just very bitter and angry at these people. Who like Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham has already turned on Donald Trump. Already turned on him. But you know what? If Trump had succeeded, if he had conned the people into marching in and killing all the congressmen or whatever, throwing out our government and replacing our government with Trumpies, Lindsey Graham would have been right there I was there beside you, Trump. I was, he would have been a loyal lapdog in the new government of Trump.
You know what's interesting? I was watching everything with my girlfriend, who is much smarter than I am. But even she was fooled by Lindsey Graham a bit. Because Lindsey Graham, when he was giving a speech about basically law and order, you just can't go around attacking people. And he was talking about, supporting the Senate and the House of Reps. Doc Fearsome is saying, is everyone enjoying freaking Fruit Loops for breakfast? Indeed. I wish I had Fruit Loops.
True.
I wish I had some Fruit Loops. It would calm me down. But Lindsey Graham was making a case for sanity late last night. And I'm like, he is just like, puts his finger in his mouth, mouth and just determines which way the wind blows. That's the way. And because nothing really matters to him. Nothing really matters to him. He just wants to go any which way the wind blows. So, F Lindsey Graham. These Republicans who helped create the environment where this happens.
Yes.
And then they're surprised. Somehow that they're surprised that the mob makes it into the chamber. And they leave IEDs. They leave pipe bombs.
Yes,
so it isn't just them. So at least people are at least from what I've seen, there is a bunch of people, reporters just calling the Trump supporters who barged into the Capitol building terrorists, because that's what they are. Property damage, attacking police, leaving IEDs. It's crazy. That's what it is.
Yep. Critical Cripple asks, what did you think of Biden's speech compared to Trump's speech? Now, Trump's speech, of course, was continued sedition. His was just more sedition, more, I was stolen from, I was robbed, be peaceful. Yeah. I was robbed. This was an unfair election. Don't hurt anybody. This was this is bad. I'm not going to take this. We're not going to take this, right? Is that what it was? That's what it was. Biden was like, come out here, and he did a few things, but I mean, I was very underwhelmed by Biden's performance in his speech.
You want to know why Democrats lose presidential elections, if you want to know why Joe Biden was going to lose this election up until the time that Trump didn't sign that second stimulus bill, if it wasn't for COVID-19, Biden would not be president-elect. You could just look at that speech that Biden gave yesterday. He was pleading with bullies to stop bullying. He was pleading with them, and you just can't do that. You have to appear strong. You can be compassionate and strong at the same time, but Joe Biden is not constitutionally able to do that. Right. I am glad that he is the president-elect. It is just by really lucky that he is the president-elect and not Donald J. Trump, because otherwise this would be a bigger disaster than what it is now.
I agree. One of the things that I don't like about Joe Biden is that, like, his speeches, or at least this one anyway, the other ones were, I hate it whenever he looks down, because he'll be going along and he'll look down in his speech and he'll stop for a long time and you're thinking, is he asleep? And then he'll start talking again and he's just reading something on the thing. I'm like, oh, his speeches are just so, like you said, be strong. There was not a lot of strength there. Whenever he does try to be strong, it's always along the lines of, let's go, they're bad guys, let's go get them. Cheerio, what's his name? What was that watermelon guy? You know what I'm talking about. The guy, you know what I mean? He's all, I just wish, I don't know. That maybe I don't know. What you want is a stable voice and a strong voice. Right. And, Donald J. Trump has that strong sounding voice to him. He's just unstable as all crap. True. And, Critical Cripple says he's thinking. He may be thinking, he may be reading. I don't know, but I like Biden. I voted for Biden. I am for Biden. I want for Biden. I'm not really trying to down him. I'm just saying they've got this whole sleepy Biden thing. Allow me to be bad on Biden, or at least give critical analysis on this. Because I've seen him run for president 2 other times before this. Yeah. I've seen him run this time. And the thing is, people do not resonate with him because he doesn't send out a strong signal. He doesn't send out a strong signal. Now, as a person who has a speech impediment, now I'm not saying my speech impediment is the same as Joe Biden's, but it comes down to heart and what your message is going to be. Right. There are ways of being able to communicate strength, right? And Joe Biden does not do that. He does passion well,
He does compassion well, but you have to be able to mix compassion with strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I agree that he came across much more presidential than Trump. But, I've seen stool samples come across as more presidential than Trump. That's not saying a lot, but I agree with you. I mean, I'm just saying, if we go back and watch that, it was a very, I don't know. It was just not, it was not a good speech. It was not good on his part. He didn't do well.
And the girlfriend says it's a technique to control the stutter. And I understand that too. But if it is about the content of what he's reading too.
Right.
One assumes that Joe Biden okays what the speechwriters give him. Mm-hmm. I think that if they just added some strength to those words, some bullet points,
maybe so,
that would help him quite a bit to communicate with the American people.
Yeah. I get you. I just found his. I don't know. It doesn't matter though. We're talking about things that are uncrucial at this point. Uncrucial, less than crucial. If crucial were over here, they would be over here. About Joe. I mean, to be honest, here's the honest thing. When I'm talking about him looking down and looking like he's asleep, I wasn't even watching him speech yesterday. I was sitting here working, listening to it. It was up on that monitor over there, and I was listening to it, and because he would get quiet, and I would look, and it was just really a slow paced. There was times where he seemed to drift off on what he was talking about. These are the things I'm talking about. I'm not the actual looking down and me going, God, man, don't be doing that. You look like you're asleep. You're falling into their Sleepy Joe thing was during the speech he had before. So did he do that yesterday too? I really don't know. I wasn't really watching. And again, none of it really matters. He's our president. He's still our president.
My takeaway is that he was pleading with bullies. Havoc 6927 from my chat says the GLP is imploding. Well, they are, once again, the GOP is not a monolithic institution. And obviously that there are remnants of the non-Trump Republicans who are now emboldened to try to take their party back, because that's what's happening right now. The traditional Republicans are trying to take their party back against Trump. I just want to say another disturbing aspect out of all this is that Vice President Pence had to act as commander-in-chief yesterday.
Yes, he did.
My girlfriend and I talked about this, and it is a disturbing fact that the commander-in-chief was incapable or unable to act as commander-in-chief. And so the vice president, and in the Constitution, it isn't like the vice president is the vice commander-in-chief. There's nothing like that in the Constitution, from what I understand. But he was the one who was giving the orders yesterday. And that is probably the most, even the 4 deaths, right? The 4 deaths are horrible, right? But the fact that Donald J. Trump could not or would not, and I think he just decided not to give orders to law enforcement, that is the most disturbing thing out of it. And that Vice President Pence had to do it. It is literally a mad, and I know that there are 2 things in my mind that make me think that Trump is just out of his mind at this point. One of them back then was not signing the second stimulus. I thought that was crazy. And yesterday, those are the 2 things, because I don't see any end game for him. I don't see how this kind of chaos in the Capitol, he had just overplayed his hand, and it's a sign of someone who just does not understand the situation.
Right. Well, Brainbug says that he points out that Biden has not grabbed anybody by the genitals. How do we know he's capable of leading us? And, these are questions that people want to know. For those of you who don't know, I want to kind of break down what happened yesterday quickly. So we saw President Trump. We were going to run the show, so we started a quarter hour early before the count started. And it opens up, and there's on the news, Trump is out in front of his in front of the crowd down the road from the Capitol building, and he was where was he?
The mob. He was talking to the mob.
He was talking to the mob, and he's like, That's my impersonation of German and Hitler. And he was telling his people, inciting them, going, this was stolen from me. You know this was stolen. I got all the evidence. They did this. We're going to march down here. You're marching with me. We're going to talk to them. We're going to do this. Is going to be good. And he's just riling these people up. Then, what? They got, it was 2 states done. They got Alabama and Alaska done. They got to Arizona. Arizona did their little contestation thing, and a few minutes into that, here come all that. They started breaking down the doors and doing all that, and then they, of course, everybody went and hid. They hid and they hid. They didn't have the proper defenses, so they, whenever you read on the news that the politicians, our brave politicians, fended for themselves. They stood up through this attack on our democracy. Actually, no, they were hiding under their desks in the basement of the building because Trump or whoever, somebody had not properly protected the situation, despite the fact that they knew there were going to be protests. And right, I tell you, had that been a Black Lives Matter, the National Guard would have been out there days ago. You know?
Well, yeah, it just boggles the brain. Right? Because this is like Charlottesville. I don't know if you all remember about Charlottesville. That was the tiki torches and blood and soil. Mm-hmm. And it's similar to Charlottesville in the fact that the authorities, knew that it was going to be a crap show, that there was going to be the opposition, the mob had basically told people, we are going to start doing mob crap here. And what you needed was you needed force. You needed to show force. And what didn't happen in Charlottesville, because force disincentivizes people from doing crazy stuff. It disincentivizes bad actors from doing bad things. And what didn't they have in Charlottesville? They didn't have a display of force. What didn't they have yesterday? They didn't have a display of force. They had displays of force for Black Lives Matter protests. They had displays of force for peaceful protests. But you know that these guys, primarily white, and that had something to do with all this. Let's not lie to ourselves. And there was no display of force, and it was madness.
All right, so let's think about something. How many guys in the crowd, they're sitting there in the crowd, they're going, Trump, 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 fuck, Antifa, Trump. Oh, that's my pager. I got to go to work, guys. Right. He goes and puts on his helmet to go back to the riot as a police officer or as a National Guardsman or as, any of those. How often did that happen? In your head again, they're protesting, get a caller page from work, and have to shut down because they're being called to go be one of the police officers defending our. Do you think that didn't happen? I would suspect that happened at least once.
Well, you look, and I think we touched on this yesterday, Chris, is the idea that you have all of these other professions that have to have these, basically when they work, they have these contracts, these you have to act in certain moral ways, right? Some kind of restrictions on your behavior outside of work. Well, if you're a cop and if you're doing things outside of work on your Facebook page, basically advocating fascism, that's just in racism, you should not be a cop. There should be some way of monitoring Facebook pages, or there should be something in clear black and white. And I know that police unions are part of the problem, a majority of the problem, to tell you the truth, in terms of police reform in this country. But in a perfect world, if you're a cop and you're posting crazy stuff on your Facebook page or on Twitter, you should be fired. It's all there. Absolutely. You should be fired immediately.
Yep. Well, ever since the George Floyd incident, one of the things I've been advocating is that, George Floyd died by the hand of a cop who had a record of being a bad cop. Now, by a bad cop, I mean lots of violence against the people or killing people or something, lots of reports against him for being a bad cop, this sort of thing. And had we, at that point, we should have gone, all right, damn. And then, like right now, at that point, in the Albuquerque Police Department, because I'm in Albuquerque, we should have shut down right then and gone, let's look at all of our cops. Do any of them have a similar record of being bad cops? Oh, let's get this guy out and this guy out. Desk job for you, desk job for you. And then stage 2 is to go through all of their social media. Here's who we have. Let's go through their social media. Not pro-Nazi, you're out. Pro-Nazi, you're out. We should do that. Rather do it now rather than do it after another citizen is killed by somebody who'd been on social media going, we should kill citizens who do these things. You know, I mean, just thinking.
So I came up to another realization this morning, is that if you have to, because I know we were talking like episodes ago about whether or not there's a low-grade civil war, kind of like Bleeding Kansas situation going on. And you know what? If you got to ask yourself, are we in a civil war? More than likely, not absolutely, but more than likely, you're in some kind of civil war. Right. So if the effects of if the situation yesterday doesn't confirm that we're in some kind of low-grade civil war, I don't know what does. Right. I don't know what does. Now, it's not an outright revolution. It's more like a mamsy-pamsy rebellion, right? That can be handled, but there's no doubt that we're in a low-grade conflict right now. Because liberals may not want you to think this, right? But those people, the Trumpers, know what time of day it is, and they know that they are trying a revolution. They are in an active rebellion against the federal government and against secular society. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing, there's like this one thing when we go back and watch Trump's speech yesterday, it was he got all the way up to the door. He just never did say, go down there, kick in the doors and remove them from office. That's the only thing that didn't happen. Everything he flirted with it. He romanced it. He ran his hand up its thigh. He even grabbed it by the pussy. He just didn't do the thing. He got that close to saying it. And you know what? That close is close enough. We're not going to take this anymore. They stole this from us. Come with me. Let's go make this right. There's no coming back from that. 4 people are dead.
And okay, so I'm going to talk to everybody here for a minute. I think we've all known people in our personal and work lives that are just unreasonable. They can't be threatened. They cannot be reasoned with. And so those people, if you're a boss, you have to fire, right? And hopefully you can fire them without getting into some kind of physical altercation.
Yes, without getting dead.
Without getting dead, right. So Donald J. Trump's, I mean, even just a cursory calculation on his character at this point is that he is someone who cannot be reasoned with and someone you cannot threat. I think he is someone at this point that even making a threat to him, if someone was going to sit down with him and say, listen, this thing that you're doing, we just need you to hold it together for the next 14 days or so. And otherwise things will happen, you know, like Tony Soprano. If Tony Soprano was going to sit down with Donald J. Trump right now, and say, look, things will happen to you, and these things will be things, and the things will be bad. Donald J. Trump would still do crazy stuff for the next 14 days. So the question is, right now, amongst the actors, because the U.S. government is not a monolithic institution either, you have law enforcement, you have the Secret Service, you have the politicians. Do we enact the 25th Amendment? Probably not, because that probably won't resolve anything between now and then and may make situations worse. This is what they are thinking, the politicians. So what does that mean? So now you have people with guns, and I've said this from the very beginning, is that there could easily be someone ending up with a bullet in their head by the end of all of this happening. And if Donald J. Trump doesn't pull it together, which I don't think he can,
I don't think he can,
then there is a greater chance as we head to the 20th, because we're in double death overtime, like I've been saying for weeks, that someone is going to end up with a bullet in their head. And because if it gets too crazy, what if Iran does something right now? What if Iran does? And they have been pulling stuff. For all of you who haven't been noticing what's been going on, they just took a South Korean tanker. The government of Iran is actually acting with more responsibility than Donald J. Trump right now.
Yes.
You should think about that too.
Yeah. I actually have a little bit of a script going, or at least notes to write a script about a video. Do you think Donald Trump will try to instigate war with Iran in order to avoid leaving office? Special powers, because now we're at war. I got to subvert. I've wondered, will he do that? Wouldn't surprise me for him to try. It would fail, but we would then be at war. And that'd be another thing Biden would have to wrap up,
Yeah. Well, once again, thank my fictitious God. The Iranians realize that they're just trying to wait out Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
They're playing two different games. They're playing we're going to enrich our uranium because the U.S. is, not playing ball with us. We're going to take this ship. But, at least they know that there are limits to what they can push right now. They still want to make their allies know that they are doing business, that they mean what they say. But at the other time, they're not going over the cliff. They're not going over the cliff. Unlike Donald J. Trump, which going over, between him and his son, Donald Jr. Donald Jr. was worse than Donald J. Trump yesterday in terms of inciting the crowd. Phil Lister says in the chat that as a democracy, USA is no longer shining bright. Yeah, you could say that again.
Yeah, I saw some articles from all over the world, from the headlines from all over the world, talking about what happened to us yesterday. This is the deal, though. There's a small group of people who are going, yes, go get them. We won. We did it. We got our people in the place, and they're all proud. They're proud. You know what? Whenever you wipe your ass and there's that stuff that's on the toilet, that's what they are. And yet there they are. I'm sorry, guys. If I'm being a little crude, I want to throw out there for everybody who's watching, this is going to be the last stream. So I don't give a fuck. Sorry. I want to thank real quick. Sorry about this. Richard Madsen is in the chat. I was going to do a show with him today. I had scheduled to do it with him whenever I was still doing the Daily Atheist Morning Show. And I sent him a message going, you know what, man, I'm stepping out of the atheist community. Not going to be doing atheist stuff anymore on the live stream. And I'm going to be doing politics over on the Chris Mallard show. And even then, I'm not going to be doing any live streams. I thought about doing live streams, but all it takes is a couple more of these live streams. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm going to have to figure out something before I start continue doing live streams. So this is going to be my last live stream on either of my channels for a while that I can think of. Me and Andy were talking about this. We're trying to noodle around in my brain to get me back into the swing of things, but I'm just going to focus on other things I've got going on right now, and hopefully the live streaming will come back. So, yeah.
I just want to point out that I'll be doing a live stream here at 9 o'clock in the morning on Easter, because I've gotten into this crazy habit. Thanks, Chris. So I'll be doing some kind of stream. If anyone wants to jump in with me and talk like I did last night. Last night at 8 p.m. I had Jack and Maturko and Daniel Fitz-Bennett on. If anyone wants to jump on with me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, hit me up. Gotcha. And we'll do something, Or I'll just do something on my own, because I feel like I'm narcissistic enough and entertaining enough to stream. But I would like to have somebody else with me.
It's cool, and I appreciate you taking it. The wife and I have thought about, well, what happens? I've got this awesome time slot, and I'm the only one doing it, and it'd be great. And I'm like, well, you know what? I put a lot of effort into this. I built a really good show. I've interviewed people. I've talked religion. We've talked politics. We've been there. We've done all those things, and we're still 20 to 30 people. The show has not grown at all over the year. A whole year I've been doing this, and people don't realize how much work goes into this show, but there's no growth at all for this channel. I will show you people.
It's a tough road.
That's true. Let me get this thing up. Go ahead, I'm listening. Sorry.
It is a tough road, and if anyone knows my work, it's Woody Allen. And I know Woody Allen, right? Horrible person. All right, we'll
bad
put
example.
But Woody Allen said showing up is 85% of everything, and so if I had a superpower, it would be showing up, just showing up. Yeah, and I'm going to show up basically. Probably that may not be the smartest thing, but that's what I do. And so I'll be here tomorrow, talking with people. If nothing else, I'm going to have fun. Right.
Right. Well, I've been asking Andy for some advice on how to get my head back in the game. I've got a lot of tech. I've put a lot of money. I've got a lot of software. There's a lot going on this side that it's a shame to just throw away. So I just got to get my brain wrapped around it. Maybe in a little while I'll get things going again and I'll get my head right and we'll get back in the show. But here's my metrics over the last year. This is actually the lifetime of the channel. When I first started the Chris Mallard channel, I dropped a few things. I didn't do anything. And then right in here, or this Daily Atheist Morning Show, then in here, I started doing December 23rd, I started the Daily Atheist Morning Show. And this is the Daily Atheist Morning Show. The entirety of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, I did interviews with people. This right here is Aaron Ra, that real peak you see. That's Aaron Ra's interview. I did it. People are like, oh, you failed because you weren't interviewing people. Look, man, I interviewed people. I interviewed people for months. You failed because you switched to politics. Look, I did, or because you wouldn't talk about politics. You know what? We didn't. For the longest time, we didn't talk about politics, did we, Andy? Not on the show. And then one day we had a conversation and I said, let's talk about politics. And we openly started talking about politics. And you know what? That didn't grow the show either. This spike people see here at the end, that's from dropping short videos, having nothing to do with the Daily Atheist Morning Show, dropping videos about politics. You know, so this is a consistent line of nothing. I mean, I say nothing. It's nothing on
just
my
funny
part.
because it's true.
It's
a consistent line of nothing. Yeah.
I've really worked. Whenever I started, I had been doing this for a month, and I had 20 to 30 live viewers. Right now, we've got 31 live viewers.
Yeah, which I'm happy with.
Channel.
We
love you. Thank you for watching. I'm just saying, after a year of labor and effort, I want to see 250 live viewers. You know what I mean? I want to see some kind of growth. Something. You know, this is a lot of money and a lot of time. People have no idea what goes on behind. I've got 6 monitors I'm looking at. Of course, I could just do StreamYard. And just do the basic show like everybody else, I guess.
Well, the thing is that people are going to people, and let me explain what my circular logic is that if you're an engineer and if you like tinkering with stuff, no matter what you do, you're going to end up tinkering with stuff. I know people who are like, well, you know, I'm going to go into this other field and I'm not going to do tinkering stuff, and then they end up, let's say, in IT, and then they end up, or they end up in some other field, and they start just reverting back to who they are in the world, which is like managing, like playing with things with their hands or with their mind. You know, for me, I do jokes, I do humor, I do analysis, I do news analysis. So whatever I am doing those things. Anyone who takes a look at my channel knows that Andy has, you know, very limited technical expertise, but what I do well are jokes and news analysis. Those are the things that I do well.
Yep. Well, you know, I just kind of want to go through here again one more time and show y'all something else. Let's look at this. In the entire 2 years that I've run the Daily Atheist Morning Show channel, this includes the clips that I did in the beginning and everything, 60,000.7 views. I have gotten 60,000.7. Let me show you over here. The Chris Mallard show in a month and a half of dropping views or dropping shorts, 66,000.9 views. I've got more views in just over a month of just dropping shorts than I did in a year, almost 2 years of the Daily Atheist Morning Show. So there's that to consider. And then now, I got one more thing to show the people. And it's sure these are all not following things. These are not all things. This right here is my TikTok. This is one video. Now you see I got video. This video right here, I dropped it yesterday. I got 2,800 views on that video. I've got less than 200 on it on YouTube. They're not fake views. There's comments and hearts and people arguing and going blah, 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 all of that. This view right here, this video is my biggest video on TikTok.
The Georgia Secretary.
That doesn't help. It's my biggest video on TikTok, 76,100 views. That video, that one video that took me 5 minutes to record, 20 minutes to edit, got more views than the entirety of my Daily Atheist Morning Show. More likes, more hearts, more comments. That one video. So it's really hard. Now, sure, we can go, oh, TikTok won't last, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. If I have a message to get out, I want to tell people, listen, Donald Trump's a traitor and he needs to do it. And what happens is I sit here, I'm going to tell you folks, this, my homies. I sit here and I'm like, work. Ooh, try to get those subscribers on YouTube. Wow, we got a whole 3 subscribers today. Work all day long. Drop the same video over on TikTok. You know, work. Oh, wow, look at that. That sucker's got 13,000 views. Huh. Okay, work. Nothing. Another 10 views. Oh, hey, look, that's what finally happened. When I started dropping the same shorts on YouTube, I was just happenstancely dropping them over on TikTok. Wasn't even paying attention. I'd drop them, work. And then look at that. And then finally I was like, what the hell is going on over at TikTok? I've got almost 500,000 views over on TikTok in the last month and a half. Total views. You know, that's not counting I've got almost 10,000, 7,000 now? Subscribers, 7,000 followers, 6,000.
You know, Chris, I'm going to tell you this. I think you would enjoy the show if I was actually running the show and you were just here talking. If we did a role reversal, I think you'd enjoy it a lot more, to tell you the truth.
You know, if I did a show on
the tech stuff was out of your hands, if you didn't have to prepare anything, I mean, what do I do to prepare for the show? All right, well, I read a lot. I look at the news a lot. I think a lot. But basically, that's what I do anyway. This is what I do anyway. And so if I ran the show, if we did the switcheroo, and I just ran the show and you just came on every once in a while and just talked, I think you would enjoy it a lot more than what you're doing now, brother. That's all I'm saying.
You're probably right. I have considered that. Richard Madsen says, have I tried twerking? That gets lots of views. Now, see, I want to mention, I have not considered twerking, but I have been threatening to do a yoga pant try-on haul video for months now. Have I not? Trina is just dying for me to get my yoga pant try-on video up and running.
I don't think I could be part of. I don't think I could be part of that. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think artistically I can sign off on that. I appreciate, as a sign of maturity, I had Corey Ryan Forrest on. He was a comedian with Trey Crowder from the Well Read Comedy Tour. And he said, I've gotten to a point in my life that just because I don't like something doesn't mean I have to shit on it. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of maturity coming from a younger man. And I've been trying to wrap my mind around that too. But I have to tell you, I'm not going to poo on the idea of you wearing yoga pants on the show. But I don't think I could be really part of that.
Probably not.
I go with my fictitious god or your fictitious god.
Understood. Well, I have actually discovered the key to TikTok. And what I'm going to do, I haven't employed it yet. So I'm going to employ it probably today or tomorrow. And the key is cleavage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video of me talking, Trump is bad, Trump needs to go away. And I'm going to superimpose my head on some woman's body who's got some cleavage. And I think I'll probably get more views. That'll help. I just don't have the cleavage myself. I just can't. I just don't want
Well, I'm always one to say that you don't know what's going to work until you try it. You don't know what's going to work until you try it. And maybe this weird thing will be, Brainbug saying, boycott Chris Mallard yoga pants, # communist plot. Indeed, communist plot.
Right.
You got that right.
Right. Don't look at that sedition. Look at Chris in his yoga pants.
Right.
All right, so that's my evil plan of doom and despair. I'm going to be dropping videos over on TikTok and YouTube. I'm going to keep driving TikTok to YouTube. But what I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reverse the roles. Instead of going work on, oh, yes, I got 3 whole subscribers. I'm going to be like work on TikTok. And the same work, I'm just going to drop it haphazardly over on YouTube. And if YouTube likes it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. It grows, it grows. I don't make money off either one of them. I mean, you might have seen like the total for YouTube channel was $800 or something for the year. You might take for the entire lifetime of the Daily Atheist Morning Show. That's not actually my take though. They take half of everything. So it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. Too much. I think Andy, if I could just sit here and talk tech talk, this would be great. We have a great show.
Well, if I'm going to be, since I'm going to be streaming, you can talk about a lot of stuff, Chris, but not tech talk. Not tech talk.
No, not on this channel. See, if I had a tech talk channel, that'd be different.
Well, dude, you would probably be doing very well on a tech channel, to tell you the truth. If you did how-to videos about how to deal with tech, and that's all you did. If you did 1-minute shorts on tech, and then extended videos on how-to, you would be much more successful in terms of YouTube channel.
1 minute tech videos. So just
and this is why people should hire me as a consultant because I know you need a few hundred Patreon subscriptions. That is correct, Phil Lister.
Yeah,
we all need a few hundred. And the thing is, once again, I talk about what individual people are good at. So I'm good at being funny, news analysis. But in terms of promoting my own Patreon account, which I have, or promoting my own whatever I have, I'm not. I'm good at promoting other people's stuff. I'm good at saying that people should look at Brainbug's channel. I'm good at saying other things like that. But in terms of promoting myself, man, I have this naive old guy view that if my work is good enough, that should be good enough. And I know that's wrong. And I try to change my mind on it. But it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a level when you go look and you think, man, we make a quality product. It should blah, 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 blah. And then you go look at other people. I pop open the internet. I can't open a YouTube search thing that doesn't have a shitty looking YouTuber out there, like with just their phone and it's just all shitty. There's no quality. There's no nothing. It's boring. There's blah, blah, blah. And they've got 50,000 subscribers and this video's got 120,000 views. I don't know what it is. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of swimming upstream on it, to be honest. Now, I think what'll happen is I do enjoy, I think you're right, Andy. I think it's two separate things. I think I'm actually good at the tech, and I think I'm good at hosting or talking to people and being a talker, just not both at the same time.
Well, once again, it's what the marketplace is looking for. The marketplace is much more probably favorable for tech stuff. People like me who are technically incompetent are always going on YouTube to look at how to blah, blah, blah. And so, there's a market for it. I should also say people, if they're not subscribed to Critical Cripple, Dave's channel, then they should do that too.
Oh, yeah. There should be a link for Dave's in my description.
Critical Cripple, I'm sure we'll drop it in my chat in a minute or two.
Absolutely, yes. There are a lot of people. Actually, I see Brainbug is there. Let me just say hi to everybody. I've been so distracted talking to God equals square root of -1. Nice to see you, Lone Wanderer's Bunker. Never again. I've been lacking in my greeting of the damnation in the morning.
Well, you have feelings today, Chris. You have feelings. There was a lot to talk about the chaos in the Capitol building and about your own personal relationship with YouTube. So you've had a lot of things. You've been feeling things, feeling the feels.
I got feels. That's right. Well, of course, again, we may get back to this. The wife is very supportive, and she also, like you and I said, there's a big, huge part of me that believes we have something, or I've got built the show we've got. We're just throwing away a good thing here. So maybe I need a little time, and I'll figure it out, and I'll get something going on. I don't know.
For me personally,
30-minute shows maybe.
I'll tell you this. I was at yoga camp. Believe it or not, yes, I've been to yoga camp, Kripalu, out here in the western part of Massachusetts. It's a great place. They sell you the yoga lifestyle, and I have done yoga before, sure. And I was in a group, and maybe I was out there to get some writing material to find some really funny stories. And I'm about to tell you a funny story. So I was in a group, and we were just talking with this person. We paired up into these twos. And we were just telling each other our stories. And I was doing much more stand-up at the time. And I was talking about my speech impediment. And this other person who I had just met, and sometimes you just find the wisdom. You just find wisdom with people you've never met before, but they tell you things that you haven't heard in a way that's really important, that resonates. And she tells me, so because you couldn't speak when you were young and had to go through all this traumatic speech therapy, now it appears you can't shut up. And it's like, yes, that's exactly it. Speaking is a form of defiance for me and a sense of empowerment. So, I've said this before many times. I performed with one person in the crowd. I have performed with hundreds of people in the crowd. I am happy doing both. I'm happy doing both, but that's me. That's my own, psychological drama playing out.
Got you. Yep. I get you. Well, apparently my speech impediment ends with the word Josephus. Josephus. I don't actually have a speech impediment. My deal has always been, what do you call it? Nerves.
Nerves.
Stage fright. Like whenever I first started doing, you go back and watch the original, the recorded videos I would record on the Daily Atheist show, the Evil God Monster of Abraham series, all of that. I could not do any of those. I couldn't record them with the wife in the house. She had to be gone from the house.
Interesting.
I could not do
more.
it. I know, right? So, so I finally got over that. I had to get over that by doing the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Matter of fact, when I first started doing the show, I felt, I think she goes to work now. Yeah, she went to work before then too. So she would go to work before the show. Because I just couldn't. But if I've grown to where now I can talk in front of people and I can do it, I don't really think about it. I used to, for months doing this show, I would pace out here in the hall before the show.
Now, here's the thing. I want to talk about comments for a second because this is relevant, at least in the chat. Phil Lister says he grew up having to speak Swedish, Russian, and Finnish. Now then, there is a slight possibility that Swedish Russian is a thing. Like there's some kind of weird Swedish Russian dialect, which I don't think it is. I think it's Swedish, Russian, because I'm an Oxford comic person, and Finnish. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think. I think it's 3 different languages. And I've heard that Finnish is a totally different language on the tree. It's totally different from either Swedish or Russian. Tell me if I'm wrong, Phil Lister. Because interesting point, J.R.R. Tolkien was a professor of language, and he really loved Finnish. Loved Finnish.
Isn't weird. Some of the elf language or one of them based sort of around? Yeah. Huh. So
you know, Chris, you know things.
I know things. That's what I do. I drink coffee and I know stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I like your coffee mug. I should say that too.
Thank you. Yes, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. They just suck is all. They create a negative pressure environment, which means they suck.
So totally different, not European. That's what Finnish. Phil Lister just said in the chat. Yes, I believe that, and tell me if I'm wrong, that Finnish is not part of the Indo-European family of languages. It is its own thing, which I find fascinating.
I enjoy languages myself. I'm just not that. And again, going back to what we were talking about our things, I studied Spanish. Studied it for a year while on these little apps and stuff. I just can't speak it in front of somebody. I just can't. I'm very self-conscious when I try to speak it, to the point of if I know I'll have to speak it, I'll start sweating and get nervous. I was talking to Jim Hall from the Atheist Edge. He was going to do an interview with me. I'm like, hey, Jim, how are you doing? He's like, I'm studying Spanish and doing this. And he started speaking Spanish to me. And even though I understood what he said, I was so put off by having to try the embarrassment of the speaking part of it. If I'd have been able to sit down and write a response, it would have been completely different. So that's where for some reason I've got this thing in my head, which makes it hard because there's another half of my brain that craves to do theater.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that would be good therapy, to tell you the truth. I was watching an old interview with Ian McKellen. I believe he's Sir Ian McKellen. And, Gandalf for all of you.
Oh, yeah. The pink,
Gandalf,
what is it?
And he was on the Dick Cavett show from like 1975. So it was a young Ian McKellen. And they were talking about acting. And the thing which I found insightful, which I found interesting, is that actors, their main goal is to control their anxiety. Their main goal is to appear not anxious. It is basically either self-soothing or being able to control the outward expression of anxiety. And actually, as Ian McKellen was explaining it, he was demonstrating it with his body about how he physically stays calm, about he appears calm, and how that I guess this is, Brainbug says this is a Lord of the Rings themed episode. I guess so. But it was very interesting to see someone at the height of their powers, or very, who's incredible at what they do, explaining how they do it while showing how they do it at the same time. I thought that was fascinating.
Is masturbation a calming technique? Just curious. Asking for a friend.
There's a graph. The refractory period, I think, is a refractory period that's pretty chill.
As long as there's not 2 peaks in the graph, that might lead to another. Going overboard. They're going overboard. You know what, Andy? We've pretty much done the hour kind of thing. Do you want to wrap up and point out what you got going on before we?
So
close
tomorrow
out
I'm going
the
to be
show?
streaming at 9. That's all I know. I might be showing a couple of news clips if the news clips are interesting. If anyone wants to join me, let me know. I'll just shoot you a link, and maybe if I have one other person, that's great. If I have 3 other people, that's fine too. And I'll probably be streaming for about an hour. So it should be pretty fun. I had Thomas Beer on, Best Advice Ever, yesterday at 11 a.m. He's an advocate, an atheist advocate, runs a bunch of Facebook groups. Talked about mental health quite a bit. Talked about how to manage the pandemic and staying safe mentally. Phil Lister, just thank you. Chris and Andy, thanks, Phil. And
you,
Ian, it's good seeing you. Seeing you, Ian, here. I'll be here tomorrow. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to join me, please do. I always like discussing and chatting with people.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, and
Chris,
you know what?
Dude, you're always welcome to come on too, dude. I just want to say that. I've had fun. I've had fun being on the show.
That's odd. I appreciate that. And one of the things that I have gotten from this atheist community is, I have to say, I've gotten a lot of love. Haven't gotten in very many invites.
Well,
So I appreciate that.
I never. When we talk about the atheist community, obviously, you look at the guest list that I have on my channel, and obviously there are people who
It must be a jerk.
But am I part of the community? I guess I am. But in my weird autistic spectrum-y kind of way, I'm more concerned about doing the work that I find valuable than anything else. But that's just me, man. That's the stand-up comic. That's the defiant aspect of Andy Hall right there.
There you go. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Of course, it is a community. There are some good people, and they've done some good things.
Definitely.
So
definitely. There are people doing fantastic work.
Fantastic work. Right now, we've got religion is not the oppressive monster that it once was. It's not the dragon that needs to be slain. Yes, it is, but right now there's bigger concerns on the horizon that need to be addressed in my mind. That's kind of my
All right. Well, Chris, hey man, like I said, you're welcome to come on. People, if you want to come on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, that's fine too. Should be a link. I'm on Messenger. I'm on Twitter. People who are here regularly know how to contact me. So, be strong, everyone. Be strong.
Awesome. And in the future, if I get my head out of my ass and figure out what I want to do, we'll be doing it again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, watch for my shorts, my scripted videos. I'll be dropping shorts and scripted videos on both channels because I got shit to say about both of them. It's just a live stream and I'm stepping back from. So,
sure.
You guys are awesome. We'll see y'all later.
Did Donald Trump sell the Resolute Desk? On Thanksgiving, Typhoid Trump spoke to the press for the first time in 3 weeks since the election, and he did so from a cartoonishly small desk in the diplomatic room of the White House. To add to the pathetic scene, a few feet away sat an undecorated Christmas tree, which seems to fittingly suit his presidency. A dictator at the child's table, and he failed to complete the one job in the room. And if you look at the pictures, it looks like he's signing stuff, but he doesn't even have a pen or a Sharpie or a crayon. But why did he take questions from such a small desk? Did he steal and sell the Resolute Desk in a desperate attempt to get more coin over to Deutsche Bank for his puppet master Putin? Just kidding. We all know he wouldn't really do such a thing, just like he wouldn't really call for the arrest of his political opponents or openly try to subvert our democracy. That's just crazy talk. Maybe someone should check on the...
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.